What are you? Take a moment and think about that. You are a collection of memories, a personality, a set of skills, a body that you recognize in the mirror. You are a coherent, continuous self that journeys through time. This feeling of being a unified you seems like the most solid and fundamental thing in the world. But what if it's not? What if this solid self is a fragile and beautiful construction of the brain, a story that can be altered, fragmented, or even lost in an instant? What happens when the very mechanisms that create our reality begin to break down? These are the profound, often heartbreaking and deeply human questions at the heart of the legendary neurologist Oliver Sacks's classic book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. This is not a dry, clinical textbook, it is a collection of compassionate and astonishing tales from the far frontiers of the human mind. Today on Geeky Philosopher we are going on a journey into that abyss. We will meet the patients whose stories reveal the hidden architecture of our own minds. This is not a tour of deficits, but a philosophical exploration of what these strange and beautiful cases can teach us about the very nature of what it means to be human. Before we meet his patients, we must first meet the author. Dr. Oliver Sacks was not a typical doctor. He was a neurologist, yes, but he was also a philosopher, a storyteller, and a man of immense compassion. He believed that a patient was not just a collection of symptoms or a broken machine to be fixed. A patient was a human being, a traveler on a strange and difficult journey, and his job was to be their guide. He was critical of a neurology that only asked, "What is wrong with you?" He wanted to ask a deeper, more philosophical question: how are you? What is it like to be you, to live in your world? This book is a collection of his attempts to answer that question. He groups his tales into 4 main categories: losses, excesses, transports, and the world of the simple. Each one is a window into a different aspect of the human mind. We will explore a few of the most profound, Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. The most famous story, the one that gives the book its incredible title, is about a man named Dr. P. He was a brilliant and respected music professor, but he started to develop a strange problem. He couldn't recognize faces. He would talk to fire hydrants thinking they were children. He would pat the tops of grandfather clocks, mistaking them for people's heads. Sacks visits him, and the consultation is bizarre. Dr. P is charming and intelligent. He can talk about complex musical theory. He is not demented. But his visual world is a chaos of abstract shapes and patterns. He sees a glove and describes it as a continuous surface enfolded on itself with 5 outpouchings. He cannot see glove, he can see the features, but he cannot see the whole. The consultation ends with the book's iconic moment. Dr. P looks around for his hat. He reaches out, takes hold of his wife's head, and tries to lift it up to put it on his own. He had mistaken his wife for a hat. What does this astonishing story teach us? It reveals that our sense of a coherent visual world is not a given. It is a constant, active construction of the brain. Dr. P's story is a profound look into the abyss of what happens when the very faculty that gives our world meaning and context is lost. He could no longer live in a world of thous. He could only live in a world of its. And yet, he was not entirely lost. He could still navigate his world through the one thing that still held meaning for him: music. He would sing his way through his daily routines. He could identify his friends by the sound of their voices. Sacks's profound and compassionate conclusion is that even when one part of the soul is lost, another can be cultivated. The music, for Dr. P, was what kept his world from completely disintegrating. If Dr. P's story is about the loss of a coherent present, the story of Jimmy G, the lost mariner, is about the loss of a past. Jimmy was a bright, intelligent 49-year-old man, but when Sacks meets him in 1975, Jimmy believes it is still 1945. He thinks he is a 19-year-old sailor who has just finished his service in the Navy. He has a profound and almost total retrograde amnesia, unable to form any new memories for more than a few seconds. Their conversation is heartbreaking. Sacks shows Jimmy a mirror. Jimmy looks at the reflection of a gray-haired, middle-aged man and is horrified. He doesn't recognize himself. A few moments later, Sacks walks out of the room and comes back in, and Jimmy has no memory of ever having met him before. Jimmy is a man who is living in a single, unchanging moment from 1945. His life has no story, no narrative continuity. He is, as Sacks writes, a man without a past and without a future, stuck in a constantly changing, meaningless moment. His story is a profound philosophical meditation on the nature of identity. If you do not have the thread of your own memories to connect your past, present, and future, Do you still have a self? Jimmy's case shows us how much of our identity is a narrative construction. But again, Sachs finds a glimmer of hope. He discovers that the one place where Jimmy seems to find a sense of continuity is in the spiritual act of taking communion in the chapel. In that moment of sacred ritual, Jimmy seems, for a brief time, to be whole. It suggests that even when our personal, narrative self is lost, there is a deeper spiritual self that can still be reached. Tourette's and supersenses. Not all of Sacks's tales are about loss. The second part of the book is about excesses, conditions where there is a surplus of energy or function. He tells the story of witty Tissy Ray, a man with severe Tourette's syndrome. Ray is afflicted with a constant barrage of involuntary tics, curses, and bizarre gestures. His life is a chaotic performance. He is given a new drug, Haldol, which dramatically reduces his tics. For the first time, he is normal. But a few weeks later, Ray has a new problem. He's a talented weekend jazz drummer, and he finds that on the drug he has lost his creative edge. His wild, improvisational, tissy energy is gone. He feels that in curing his disease, he has also lost a part of himself. The solution they arrive at is a beautiful compromise. Ray takes the drug during the week so he can hold down his job, but on the weekends he stops taking it, so he can be his wild, tissy, and brilliant drumming self. His story is a profound philosophical question. Where is the line between a disease and an identity? Sachs also tells the story of a young man who, after taking a massive dose of PCP, wakes up with a superhuman sense of smell. He can identify his friends, and even their emotional states, by their individual scent. His world, once dominated by sight, has been transformed into a rich and complex world of smell. His story is a mind-bending reminder that the reality we all experience is just one, limited, species-specific version. There are other worlds of perception all around us that we are completely blind to. In the final part of the book, Sachs explores the world of the simple, or what we would now call the intellectually disabled, and he makes a powerful and compassionate argument. He says that our culture is obsessed with abstract intellectual thinking. We define intelligence in a very narrow way, but he found that his simple patients often had a profound and beautiful connection to the world that normal people lacked. He describes a group of patients with profound intellectual deficits who are watching the president give a speech on TV. They are all laughing hysterically. Sachs is confused. He listens to the words, and they are serious and sober. But then he closes his eyes, and just listens to the tone of the president's voice, to his gestures and his facial expressions. And he realizes the patients are right. The president's words are serious, but his nonverbal communication is completely false and theatrical. His simple patients, who could not be fooled by the abstract words, could see the concrete, emotional truth of the performance with perfect clarity. Their story is a philosophical lesson. It teaches us that there are other ways of knowing, other forms of intelligence, emotional, artistic, concrete, that our abstract, obsessed world has forgotten how to value. The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat is more than just a collection of fascinating medical cases. It is a profound philosophical journey that leaves you with a completely new vision of the human mind. It teaches us that our sense of self, our perception of reality, our very identity, is a fragile and beautiful symphony, performed by a mysterious and complex orchestra in our brain. And when one instrument goes silent or plays out of tune, the entire symphony changes. Oliver Sacks's great gift is his profound and unwavering compassion. He teaches us to see the people behind the diagnoses. He shows us that even in the midst of the most profound neurological loss, the human spirit is constantly striving to find a new way to create meaning, to connect, and to be whole. The book leaves you not with a sense of fear, but with a sense of profound awe and humility for the strange and beautiful mystery of the human brain. This book is a journey into the deepest and most mysterious parts of the human experience. It is a call for a more compassionate and more holistic understanding of the mind. If you are a seeker of this deep, scientific, and soulful understanding of the human condition, then you are a student of this work. Consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we believe that the most profound lessons about the mind are found in the stories of the people who inhabit its farthest shores. Thank you for your time.